Morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, we have lots to talk about, including a severe weather, ice storm, and snowstorm across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast from today into tonight, as well as another significant severe weather outbreak likely to unfold across the Deep South and the Southeast as we go into Thursday and Friday later this week, including an Arctic plunge as well beyond there into the middle of March with colder temperatures and wind chills as well towards especially that second week in March. We're down to 2 days now on my countdown to 1 year of being on YouTube, which will be on Wednesday, March 1st here at 2023. So if you would like to support the channel, hit the subscribe button down below, that red subscribe button. It helps to get all of this information out to as many people as possible, as well as support the channel each and every morning here at 9 a.m. So definitely appreciate it. We're up over 23,000 subscribers. Thanks to all the new subscribers out there. I definitely appreciate it. But going back to yesterday, we saw a pretty significant severe weather outbreak here across the Deep South, which did include a derecho potential as well. Still looking into that, whether or not it was a derecho, but we did have 9 confirmed tornado reports down here across the southern plains, 101 wind reports with 15 of those being significant, 15 hail reports for a total of 125 severe weather reports across the central and southern plains from yesterday. And I do have a feeling that all of these numbers will start to grow as more of the surveys do start to take place across these regions through the day today. But that system is up across the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes by the time we get into this afternoon, wreaking havoc across these areas. But if you were with me on the video, don't forget to press that thumbs up button, that like button down below. It helps to get all of this weather information out to as many people as possible here across YouTube. So I definitely appreciate if you'd press that like button down below the video. But we were talking about another, at least low-end chance for severe weather across the Ohio Valley through the day today. The Storm Prediction Center has already hoisted a level 2 of 5, a slight risk in the yellow shaded zone here from east central Illinois, much of Indiana into central portions of Ohio down into northern Kentucky today for some scattered strong to severe thunderstorms. And the hazards with these storms do include that 2 to even 5% shading for tornadoes all across the Ohio Valley, with the highest concern for tornadoes actually across central and southern Ohio, even eastern portions of Indiana through this afternoon and early evening. And also at least the chance for 60-mile-per-hour winds here from east central Illinois through Indiana, much of central Ohio down into northern Kentucky as well. And then that lower end chance for hail, again, mainly under 5% in many of these areas. The instability will not be that strong. So mainly just a tornado risk and also a damaging wind risk with these storms later on today. So tracking that here around the noon time frame, we got that narrow stripe of some heavier snow and some icing up here across the UP of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, getting into the central portions of lower Michigan. But just to the south of there, we're going to be watching that cold front sweep through the Ohio Valley, through Indiana, through portions of Ohio, down here into Kentucky today around noon time frame. We do have to watch out for some of these discrete storms producing isolated tornadoes and damaging winds as they progress farther off to the east. This will all move across portions of the Pennsylvania region into eastern Ohio and the mid-Atlantic through the 6 o'clock hour here this evening. But beyond there, it's all heavy snow across the central and northern Great Lakes, and then over here into western New York State, northern PA here into portions of northern Pennsylvania by 6 o'clock this evening as well. All of that snow will be spreading out across much of the interior New England, and even that I-95 corridor will start to see some snowfall here from New York City, northern New Jersey on up here through Hartford, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and even the Boston, Massachusetts region through the 6 o'clock in the morning time frame on Tuesday, February 28th. And then that continues to push farther to the north and east across Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and still snowing across Boston, Massachusetts by the time we get to 6 o'clock on Tuesday evening. In fact, with this system lingering across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast, Here's the total rainfall accumulation we can expect from now through Wednesday morning on March 1st. Decent rains here from Iowa, southern Wisconsin through northern Illinois, portions of the northern Ohio Valley here across northern Indiana, northern Ohio into western Pennsylvania. All these areas in the pink shaded colors could see at least 1 to at least even 2 inches of rainfall through the morning hours on Wednesday. And there is some concern for flash flooding here from portions of Wisconsin down through northeastern Illinois, portions of northern Indiana, Ohio, and into portions there of West Virginia, western Pennsylvania, and south central portions there of Michigan, getting through that Tuesday morning time frame here from today into tonight and even into Tuesday morning for a lower end chance for flash flooding. But looking at the snowfall potential here across the Midwest, the heaviest of the snows will be found up here toward Green Bay and on up to the north across the UP of Michigan, northeastern Wisconsin. Some of these areas could be measuring 4, 5, even 6 inches worth of snow, and then some snowfall into northern lower Michigan as well could be adding up around 1 to 3 inches going through Wednesday morning. But the more significant threat that I'm keeping an eye on is actually the ice storm starting to set up across this region, anywhere from a tenth to 2/10 of an inch and even up over a quarter of an inch of ice is definitely possible here across central and northern Wisconsin on up here into northeastern Minnesota, and that lingers farther east southeastward into central portions of Michigan, getting through that Tuesday evening time frame. But then over here into the northeast, much heavier totals of snow here going through Wednesday morning on March 1st. A lot of these areas into central, southern New York State and northeastern Pennsylvania here does include the New York City area. We could be seeing at least a few inches of snowfall here and on up there, even into Albany, New York. We could be measuring 6 to 8 inches worth of snow here or more. Boston, Massachusetts, we could be talking about up to around 4 or 5 inches of snow. And then coastal areas of Maine, up toward Portland, Maine, and up here into the Augusta region, we could be talking about 6, 7, or 8 inches as well up here going through Wednesday morning. Not much of an ice threat here across the mid-Atlantic or the Northeast, which is some good news. It's going to be mainly some snowfall, but we still could see a thin glaze of ice, if anything, across northern Pennsylvania or western New York State toward the Buffalo region going through Tuesday evening. But then our eyes turn back to the west. On Tuesday, we got another strong trough digging in across the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast by that time frame, and that will start to move all the way south and eastward towards Southern California, Southern Nevada, and the Western Four Corners region by the time we turn the page to Wednesday, March 1st. And this is going to be a significant trough at that here for our next weather headlines through the week this week. On noon time frame here on Tuesday, we're going to see very heavy snow breaking out across the Sierra Nevada mountains here, heavy rain across coastal California here, even some snow up here toward the Portland, Oregon region as well through that noon time frame on Tuesday. All of that precipitation moves slowly to the south and east by 6 a.m. on Wednesday, March 1st. Still snowing pretty heavily across the central and southern Sierra Nevada mountains here in California. Even some higher elevation snows up here into Salt Lake City, northern Arizona, southwestern Colorado, even towards portions of eastern Nevada as well. Some decent rains could be found again towards portions of San Francisco, Los Angeles down here, the Santa Clarita area, Santa Barbara area as well. That could be something we'll watch through coastal California Wednesday morning. Looking at the total snowfall accumulation from Tuesday into Wednesday this week, decent snows down here across the Sierra Nevada mountains and even those higher elevations to the east and through Nevada, Utah, northern Arizona, and southwestern Colorado. At least a few inches in those higher elevations before you get up into higher elevations into the Sierra Nevada mountains. We could be seeing well over a foot, if not closing in on 2, 3, even 4 feet worth of snow or more getting through the next 24 to 48 hours or so. And definitely some heavy rainfall across coastal California here. Some of these places from Los Angeles back towards the Santa Barbara region, San Francisco, Santa Clarita region here. We could be talking about easily 1 to 3 inches of additional rainfall here during that Tuesday and Wednesday time frame. But then that system starts to move farther to the east on Wednesday, around Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. More of that heavier snow spreading up toward the Flagstaff region again. Some heavier rainfall potentially entering in toward Phoenix. But then downstream from there across the central Gulf Coast states, Well, we will be watching out for some isolated to widely scattered showers and storms here from Louisiana through southeastern Arkansas, central and northern Mississippi, central and northern Alabama, and even northern portions of Georgia. By that time, we could be talking about at least a low end threat for a severe weather event down here into East Texas, through the Arklatex region, getting through Mississippi, Alabama, southern Tennessee, and perhaps as far east as the Atlanta metro area on Wednesday. The Storm Prediction Center does state that there could be an expansion with this and at least an upgrade to a slight risk, that level 2 of 5, potentially in later updates across this region. So we'll continue to watch that through that Wednesday, March 1st timeframe. But then that parent system, that parent trough, starts to move farther east across portions of West Texas by Thursday, March 2nd, and then eject finally across the Ohio Valley by late this week on Friday, March 3rd. And this is going to be a fairly significant setup. So on Thursday at noon, we're going to see all this warm, moist air move up from the south from the Gulf of Mexico. And where it's cold enough, we're going to see snow back here from the front range of the Rockies into western Kansas, but also that heavier rainfall potential across the Arklatex region into the central Gulf Coast states. And with enough instability, enough wind shear, we do have to be concerned about a strong line of storms with embedded tornadoes, widespread damaging winds, and large hail and heavy rainfall, of course, down here Thursday evening from central East Texas on eastward through the central Gulf Coast states as this moves across those areas through 6 a.m. on Friday. But a decent ice storm and snowstorm farther to the north is possible here across the Missouri Valley, through the Ohio Valley here, and even the Mid-Atlantic going through Friday morning. And then even more snowfall here across parts of interior New England, with a little bit of an ice storm possibly setting up there toward the Baltimore region, down toward Philadelphia, northern New Jersey by the time we get into Friday night at 6 p.m. And that is what we're going to continue to watch. So it looks like here the update from the Storm Prediction Center on their Day 4 outlook on Thursday, March 2nd. A fairly substantial severe weather outbreak is likely to unfold across portions of East Texas, much of the Arklatex regions here, into central and southern Arkansas, much of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. And some of this could extend as far east as the Alabama-Georgia state line on Thursday night. And then another slight risk for severe weather here centered on the Carolinas, all of Georgia, eastern Alabama, and southeastern portions of Tennessee by the time we get into that Friday, March 3rd timeframe. So a multi-day severe weather outbreak. You want to be on high alert later this week here. I do think this could be upgraded, at least on Thursday, to another moderate risk as we get closer. So we'll definitely have to watch this getting closer to that time for the severe weather, but also the snow side of the system. We could be seeing some decent snow here in a narrow zone from the Missouri Valley here through the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic through late this week. The European forecast model is painting at least 6 inches, if not up over a foot of snow. And this will be farther south than we've seen it most of this season, including the St. Louis region, getting through Champaign, Urbana, Illinois, Indianapolis, the Cleveland area up here towards Toledo, and Columbus, Ohio here. And then farther east from there into Pittsburgh, portions of Scranton, and even up toward Buffalo, New York. The GFS model a little bit farther to the north with the track, so it has the heavy snow again over St. Louis, Peoria, Illinois, maybe the southern side of the Chicago metro area, getting through northern Indiana, and then up toward Detroit. So we'll see which model does win out later this week, but definitely a decent snowstorm and severe weather threat later this week with that storm. And the overall potential storm track from March 2nd through the 5th this week does look like a low pressure system will develop across the eastern Rockies, move southeast toward North Texas, and then take that left-hand turn somewhere across the mid-Mississippi Valley and the mid-Atlantic here, with the heavy snow and ice storm on the northwestern side, and then a heavy rain and substantial severe weather threat on the southern and southeastern side that we'll be tracking later on this week. Well, we did have that sudden stratospheric warming event that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now, and all that cold air is going to start to push farther south here as we get in towards that second week into March, that March 6th through the 12th time frame. The Climate Prediction Center is forecasting well below normal temperatures centered on the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast during this period, and that will be more progressive, I think, across the north here as we get toward that 12th time frame. As that pushes a little bit farther to the east, will dampen this southeast ridge down finally towards the second week into March, and you can see that intrusion of that Arctic plunge by the time we get into that second week in March with the EPS ensemble. This is the European ensemble guidance, and you definitely see these brighter purples and pinks out here. Definitely temperatures that are 10 to even up to 20 degrees below average by the time we get towards that Thursday, March 9th timeframe and beyond there towards the middle of March. So things will be turning colder and more active as well. It does look pretty active across the lower 48. So with the colder air into the middle of March, especially that second week into March, and the active weather, it does point the direction for more snow and ice across the lower 48 here, with more snow setups farther south with the activation of those the active subtropical jet across the southern United States. So to recap my weather forecast for you guys, severe weather and ice storm and snowstorm across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast today through tonight. A significant severe weather outbreak here on Thursday and Friday across the Deep South and the Southeast we'll have to keep an eye on, with all modes of severe weather likely, including tornadoes. And then an Arctic plunge will be moving in by mid-March with colder temperatures and wind chills across most of the country, especially centered on the West Coast and the center of the country across the Great Plains by that second week in March. Well, thank you guys for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Monday, everybody, a great work week ahead, and I will see you all in the next video.